Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Hello, and welcome to the Success Showcase, the podcast that helps you succeed in your business life and career. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group, and with me as always is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. We are now, a week into spring, and you can really feel it in the air. Spring has sprung. We've got Easter right around the corner. Passover is just a few days away. So we've got holiday seasons. Yeah, there's loads of things to be looking forward to right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there'll probably be a lot of getting together with loved ones and, people that are supposed to be loved ones that you don't see too much and that kind of stuff too, and friends. And so, just wishing all of you folks the best, no matter what you're celebrating right now, is just reach out to somebody and really, really just go out and appreciate them, because that's what the whole season's all about.
That's it. And, people tend to forget different things. They get wrapped up in holidays. They get, change of a season. They get swept away. But we're going to talk about something fairly grounding. We're talking about the mind-body-spirit integration. And a lot of folks focus on one. But when you do that, you're actually missing the benefits of the integration. And just to be clear for our listeners, when I say spirit, I am not talking about any particular religion or even religion in general. Spirit is what you define it as. So even an agnostic and atheist can still take care of their spirit. So we're not talking simply about religion here. We're talking about a part of yourself.
Yeah, obviously my good friend AI, who I went to this for, it's pretty easy to talk about mind, which is mental and emotional, and body, which is physical, but spirit, I really liked the definition there. Basically, that's energy. It's nurtures your sense of your purpose, your inner peace, the connection to something larger than yourself. Because whether you believe in something or whatever, you got to admit that there's something a whole lot larger that's the reason why we're here. And whatever that is, if you nurture a sense of purpose and inner peace and connection to that in a positive way, that's so important to really integrate with the other two, because obviously they're all interconnected as far as that goes, with emotions, energies, and so on and so forth. So it's a great topic to talk about. There's definite benefits to it, and there's definite practices that we can put into use to kind of integrate all three of them. And I'm sure we're going to touch on those as we go through this today. So
Yes, we will. And, to follow up on what you just said about spirit being a connection to something bigger. Again, in the theme that it's not necessarily about religion, it can be, but when you think about something bigger, that can be family, that can be community, that can be the region you live in. There's a lot of things that are bigger than we are as an individual, and spirit is embracing that and contributing to that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, another way to look at it is just creation. I mean, today's a
Yeah.
beautiful spring day, and just walking outside and taking a look at everything. Obviously, you didn't create all that yourself.
Right.
It's there, and obviously, you can choose to enjoy it. You can choose to ignore it. You can choose whatever you want to do with that. But if you want to talk about spirit and sense of connection to things, obviously people is just one part of it. And then obviously in our
Yes.
minds, we have things like success and all these other things that get up there too. And then the body, obviously, we'll get talking about taking care of that and so on and so forth. But the spiritual really, it ties everything together because that's where it all started. And eventually that's where it's all going to end. So,
So, but yeah, and we're talking about integrating the three, and that's really key because it is the classic case of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. If you take care of your mind, you stay sharp, you keep learning, you're going to get benefits from that. If you take care of your body, if you eat right, you exercise, you're going to get benefits from that. If you take care of your spirit, if you meditate, if you spend time in nature, you're going to get benefits from that. But if you combine the three, not only are you getting benefits, but those benefits build. It's like compound interest. And the more you do it, the more benefits you get and the further it propels you. So that's really our focus, is how this integration and what the basics are about taking care of yourself in each way, how that all works together. So we've talked a lot about mind on this podcast, and we've done entire episodes about continuous learning and keeping your brain sharp. And that is the baseline. That's really what you need to be doing just to start out with. It is called the science of neuroplasticity, and it's part of neurology. And basically, what it is it's saying your mind is a muscle. And like every other muscle in your body, if you don't use it, it atrophies. So you need to stay mentally active, learning, reading, doing crossword puzzles. There are now tons of video games that are specifically created to keep your mind active. And I personally have seen what happens when you don't keep your mind active. These are folks that retired before they were ready to. Either their company said, we're leaving, we're offering early retirement, or they hit 65 and they said, well, I guess I'm retired now, but they weren't prepared for it. And with nothing to fill their days without the work, you literally saw their minds waste away, starting to get forgetful, starting to forget how to do things. So there is tons of scientific evidence that shows how important it is to take care of your mind.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk a lot about a daily routine, and daily routine, obviously, we talk about exercising for the body and that kind of thing, but we also talk about just setting aside time every single morning, maybe, or whenever you are sharpest, to just make sure that you are doing something like reading or personal development work. Just pick something out, but something you should be working at every single day is that. And if you put that as part of your daily routine, and we talked about actually having a written planner down there so that every single day, that's what you're doing at that point in time. That's a great way to get started. I mean, you might want to, yeah, I've talked before about just what I call the dailies, which are just books that have one page for every day of the year, on a particular topic. It could be whatever that you're interested in. And I do several of those because I have the time to do that because I'm kind of semi-retired. And it's just a great way for me to start my day. And obviously, going back and seeing the same thing year after year, even though I've read this probably 4, 5, 6, 7 times before, I get something new out of it. And it really gets my brain going for the day on that. And obviously, you can do this for things that you're interested in too. Could be professionally. Um, it's just so important to do that. If you're really, really busy, you just got to make sure that you take time for doing that too. And on the personal development side, obviously it's good for work, but do something outside of that for yourself too.
Absolutely. One of the things that keeps the mind going strong is developing new interests and exploring those you already have. Again, we talk a lot about reading. There's nothing wrong with reading a book over and over again because the best books, you're going to find something that you missed each time. And sometimes you'll see different things based on where you are in life or something else that you read or saw. I just went back and read some books that I'd read, a year and a half ago or so, and actually found connections to other books that I had read in the meanwhile that I hadn't caught the first time because it had been a while since I'd read those other books. So you start making those connections. And that's literally what you're doing in your brain is you are creating neural connections. So the more you read, the more you do, the more you explore, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be self-improvement or, something so highfalutin. It can be exploring a new comedian that you just heard about. Go to the museum and enjoy some art. Anything that is new is going to create new neural pathways. And that's what you're actually trying to do to keep your brain active.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the beauties of the dailies. Again, especially this time of year, because a lot of people are going through Holy Week like myself and so on and so forth. So the readings are really tailored towards that. And I know that I'm picking up new stuff every year or things that I just read through it just for the sake of reading through it. All of a sudden, wow, I got to pay attention to this and so on. And what I highly recommend doing when you are reading is always have a piece of paper or something next to you and write down something, write down thoughts, write down this and that. Cause I mean, one of the beautiful things about dailies also is that our retention rate is what, 5-10% maybe. So whatever you read,
Something like that.
yeah,
Yes.
it's, doesn't really matter how many times you read it. If you find that valuable, it's going to get more valuable year after year. But if you can write these things down, and again, we talk about personal development work, write down things that you're interested in, things that you're good at, and so on and so forth, and make the time to leverage those things and put them into your life. That's a great way to do that for your mind. And, and obviously, if it concerns your body and your spirit, it's all integrated together. So,
It really is. And you make a good point about taking notes. This is where your mind body integration actually starts to take place because the act of physically writing something down, and I'm not talking about typing it into a computer. I'm talking about picking up a pen or pencil and writing on a piece of paper. Studies have actually shown that that physical movement will actually enhance your recall and your memory. And it's one of the reasons why when you're in school, or at least when you used to be in school, now so many people use audio recorders and actually type their notes on laptops and tablets. But when you were taking notes with pen and paper, it allowed you to remember what was going on. And then, of course, you took the test and then never looked at those notes again and you forgot what you learned. But but the act of physically writing it is a great illustration of that mind body connection because it goes to show just how the two work together. And in fact, you have to remember that your brain is an organic part of you. So if you're not taking care of your body, you're also not taking care of your mind. And so that brings us to, simple basics for taking care of your body. And sometimes I am absolutely amazed at the sheer amount of bad information that is out there when it deals with nutrition, especially, and exercise also. People will post anything on social media, and all it takes is a simple Google search to see it's not true, but people believe it. So you need to be very careful about what you do with your body. There are certain things you should be putting into your body and certain things you should not be putting into your body. And a lot of this is completely ignored. And I will give you one example that absolutely drives me crazy. Every nutritionist will tell you that you need to limit your intake of sugar. While you need a little bit of sugar to keep your body going, a little bit goes a long way. And the amount that the average American puts in their diet is actually corrosive. So you're actually damaging yourself when you overdo it with sugar. However, I am always amazed at how many people will say, "Oh, I use almost no sugar. I don't have it at all." And then you'll have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and they're shoving tons of honey into it. Or they'll make recipes with molasses instead of sugar. Folks, honey and molasses are sugar. It doesn't matter that you're calling it by a different name. It doesn't matter that it's all natural. It's still sugar. It still has the same negative effects that all natural sugar has.
Yeah, and obviously, to me, a lot of people like a chocolate or this or that or whatever, so the benefits of that is your mind, emotionally, and so on and so forth. You're gonna be a little bit happier just doing that, and obviously, the key to everything is just moderation, but yeah,
Yes.
you gotta question everything that everybody says and reading and so on and so forth, because everybody, even the experts of the experts, basically, they have their own version of what's going on. And yeah, maybe most of the people agree with it. Maybe it is true, but you have to question everything that's out there. And also just realize that in your spirit is your unique self. That's your sense of purpose, inner peace. It's who you really are. And some people handle different things in different ways better than other people do. And that's all part of the emotional side of things. So
And
be
the
yourself and really, as I said, take some time out every single day to work on that side of things because the person in the mirror is the most important person. And what other people on the outside say, even if they think they have your best interests in mind, the person you got to really, really look forward to and be comfortable with is that person in the mirror. And there's a lot of ways to do that.
and the two things are very closely related. Recent studies have shown, there has been an uptick in anxiety among people. And the first clue that, first thing that most people try to do is, well, they take care of their mind. They try to relax the mind. They focus on the spirit, meditation, being in nature, but they're still finding anxiety. And recent studies have shown, yes, a lot of that increase in anxiety is actually produced by the increase of sugar and caffeine in our diets. They said one of the worst things that you can be putting into your body is an energy drink. So you have to be careful about what you put in your body. And it's not just about taking things out of your diet. It's about making sure you put things into your diet that maybe you haven't thought about. There are a group of spices that are incredibly beneficial to your body and mental health. And yet, most people, oh, I don't like it, so I won't eat it. But and medical science has determined, yes, there are beneficial compounds in these spices, and I will rattle off a couple of them: turmeric, cinnamon, cumin, chili powder. These are not things that are usually found in the American diet. You have to actually figure out how to add them in. And now there are a lot of companies coming out with supplements that actually have these spices in them because they are so healthy. And nobody's diet is going to be perfect. But when you have things like turmeric, pepper, chili peppers, those three in conjunction will actually eliminate a lot of the negative side effects of other things that you put into your diet. You hear a lot about inflammation. And that's another, big myth. Oh, inflammation is terrible. Well, no, too much inflammation is bad. The body needs a certain amount of inflammation. That's how you heal from wounds. So again, there's nothing that should be eliminated or gone overboard on. Everything needs to be in moderation, but you actually need to pay attention to all the different parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the mind, body, spirit all come together. I mean, if you're thinking just with your mind about what's good for your body and they're not jiving together, it's just not going to work. So basically, I mean, what you're looking to do is just increase your well-being, reduce stress and that type of thing. And that's where this all comes in. I mean, basically, if you look at mind, body, and spirit as three circles that intersect in the middle, and that's where the integration is, the subconscious, your emotions, and all those kind of things. That's so important. I mean, if you just draw three circles and then one write down spirit, one write down mind, and one write down body, and then between spirit and mind, just write down subconscious mind because you have spirit and mind. And then between spirit and body, write down energy because that's how those two are related. And then the body and mind together, you have your emotions, but everything is involved. So if you use that diagram, if you go online and just type in mind, body, spirit integration, I'm sure you'll be able to actually download a diagram like that, like I just did today with AI. And
Right.
so it's sometimes visuals help so much. And if you just have
Isn't
that in front of you, that's a great thing to do. Right next to your
right,
notepad where you're writing down your notes.
right. I think that diagram actually, at least the description you just gave, left something very important out, where those three circles all overlap. That is you.
Yep.
That is what you need to put right in the center of that is you.
Yep. Yeah, there's a little circle in there.
There you go. Yes.
That's what it is. It's not like they're separate. That's basically we're talking about integration here. So they're all connected.
Right. It's a simple Venn diagram. So something else focusing on body, but also helping the other is activity and exercise. Most people, when they're confronted with exercise, say, oh, I don't have time to do that. You know what? It doesn't take time. You can fit in a couple of minutes a day. It doesn't, you can do something that's very active in just a few minutes, like running in place. Tony Robbins very famously shows off this one exercise at most of his events where it's literally just sitting down, sitting up straight, lifting your arms in the air, bringing them down to your lap, and raising them up 30 times, basically, 3 sets of 10. Raise them up, take a deep breath, raise them down, blow out the breath, and repeat that. 30 times basically takes you about a minute. And what that does is it gets your blood pumping. It oxygenates the blood. And the more oxygen you have in the blood, it's better for your mind, which in turn also helps your spirit. So it's a very simple exercise. Now, better is to actually do aerobic exercise on a regular basis. And I'm not talking about the aerobic exercises from the 80s where you watch Jane Fonda on a videotape jumping around. Aerobic exercise simply means you're getting the blood pumping and you're breathing. So a walk is aerobic exercise, and we can all do that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when I've always been a walker anyway, but when COVID came around and there was really nothing else to do was except go outside for a walk, um, I really got into a habit then, and I've been doing that every day for a long time. And basically, just as you said, I mean, you do the exercises, lifting your arms and down and whatever, but taking a walk, it's going to get you breathing more. It's going to get your mind going. If you're walking outside, it's going to make you appreciate what's going on spiritually. It's just a great way to do that. I mean, next time you go out and take a walk, instead of just looking down and watching your steps out there, keep your head up and just look around at all the surroundings that you're doing. You'll notice things, even though you've done the same walk 1,000 times, that you've never noticed before, just by turning your awareness towards that. And awareness is a huge part of the spirit. It's so, so important to do that. So if you put your awareness into whatever you're doing in the present moment, that's a big, big part of it. But yeah, you don't have to go out and do one of your crazy stuff. I mean, I walk every single day, and I'm, in great shape because of that. And I'm not sitting here gonna George Atlas or anything like that. It's just I'm in decent shape. And I mean, I do work out with 10-pound dumbbells every day to do some stuff and whatever, which isn't too bad. But just do your own pace. You don't have to have anything except the will to do it, and just get out and do it. If you can do it for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, you're going to be a whole lot healthier for that. And it's also going to affect your body. It's going to affect your mind, and you're going to feel great about yourself and your spirit too. The whole,
Abs-
it is all connected.
Absolutely. And again, you can always start small. You don't have weights, so you're not ready to start lifting weights. Grab a can of vegetables or a can of soup from the cupboard and use that as a little extra weight.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps. So whatever you're doing, just get moving and do it. And one thing that so many people actually forget when they're working out, even if they've been working out for a long time, you see folks in the gym doing great workouts, except what happens is when they lift a weight, they forget to breathe and they hold their breath and then they'll let it out, after. No, you have to keep breathing. And that is right there. The breathing is the integration between body and spirit. It is that breath that brings in all of the positivity. Let's breathe out the negativity. If you're somebody that likes visualizing things, picture yourself breathing in bright white light and picture yourself breathing out a gray cloud and helping that energy flow through you through your breath. Deep breathing exercises are a fantastic way to exercise body and spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a pair of lungs. Without them, you're not here. And just doing breathing exercises strengthens those. And obviously, by getting oxygen to every single part of your body, it strengthens your whole body. So absolutely. All you got to do through exercise is breathe a whole lot more than you are before, so that everything is really, really enriched. So that's what
Yes.
that's what it's about.
And, we've been trying to showcase how all of these are integrated. And you'd actually just mentioned something about focusing your awareness. Now, we've done entire podcasts about mindfulness, but when you're taking care of your spirit, mindfulness is really the best way to do it. And all mindfulness is it's a fancy term for paying attention to what you're doing right now. Don't think about the future. Don't think about the past. Just focus on whatever you're doing. And you can achieve this while you're washing dishes, while you're straightening up the house, while you're working on something. It doesn't have to be strict meditation where you're quiet, eyes closed, legs crossed. Even meditation doesn't have to be that strict. But for mindfulness, it's just about focus. And whatever you're doing should have your complete focus, because that is the most important thing you're doing at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, basically awareness, getting back to the breathing, I mean, it's all related. Obviously, if you sit down and you say, okay, I'm going to meditate for 10, 15, 20 minutes, well, the first thing that's going to happen to you is you sit down and quiet, your mind's going to start going a million miles an hour. So that's just the way it is. So if you can just focus on something, realizing that you're going to sway from that, and even the biggest teachers in the world that do this kind of stuff, they will tell you that that's what's going to happen to you. So it does. They don't call it a practice for nothing, but that's something that if you just start out 5 minutes a couple of times a day, where you just sit there, and even if you breathe, and all of a sudden you're starting to have things going in and out of your mind, that's perfectly normal. Just accept that, and that's all part of the deal. Don't let your mind get mad at your body for doing that kind of thing. Again, all these things are integrated, but the key to, just like anything, is just get started doing that. Just sit there. I mean, if you have a beautiful day like we have today, go outside and sit in the chair for 5 minutes and just enjoy. Breathe in and out. Yeah, your thoughts are going to sway and so on and so forth. What am I doing this weekend for Easter or whatever? That kind of stuff. It's just going to happen. But you're also going to lower your stress. And if by breathing like that, it's going to strengthen everything else too, just by going through the motions. So there's good in everything. There's also yes buts, but we're talking about yes ands here.
Yes, there is. And I think the one thing that's probably most important to bring up, regardless of whether you're focused on body, mind, spirit, or the entire integration, is that progress beats perfection. Don't worry about if you've eaten something that's not exactly healthy. If you're trying to meditate and you can't calm your mind, try calming your mind for 2 seconds. Anything you do is better than doing nothing. And the more you do just that little bit, the easier it becomes to do more and more. So focus on the progress, not the perfection. And having said that, we are just about out of time. So, Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway for our listeners this week?
Now, let's get back to the benefits, key benefits. Obviously, enhanced well-being improves overall improves your health and resilience. When one aspect is down, the others are moving up. Reducing stress, which is important. Finding your own authenticity and purpose. Living in harmony with their true nature, and then being emotionally more sound, better understanding of your bodily functions and things that are going on within yourself. And so important to just do that and get into a practice of that. Just think of the benefits. Don't think of the work. Just think of the benefits and go out and do the work and enjoy it while you are doing it. And you are going to have a better life with that, with mind, body, spirit integration.
Yes, you will. And I think it's also important to remind everybody that it doesn't happen overnight. Everything is small steps. So focus on that progress, not the perfection, because again, you're not going to see, if you go out and you exercise today and you fix your diet and you've got a perfectly healthy diet today, you're not going to see the benefits tomorrow. It's about building on it. So, yes, it does take time, but it's worth the work. So, focus on making a little bit of progress every day. Let that progress compound and integrate all three. Don't ignore it because, again, the benefits way outweigh the work. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch every episode at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. We'll see you then.